everyone, Amanda here. So today we're going to make this card together. I'm doing a full tutorial. So I shared this on some of my social media and it was super popular. Lots of requests for tutorials. So we've got a shaker front and also with a pop-up inside, and it's made completely just by hand, no dies. Don't need anything special other than cutting tools and your supplies. So we're going to start with the card base. So this measures 12 by 6, okay, and then you score down the middle at 6, easy peasy. Then for your inner card, this needs to measure 8 by 4, score at 4, fold, easy peasy. And then for the centre fold out section, this needs to measure 5 inches by 6 inches. Okay, and then we're going to do some scoring. So we're going to score first of all at 1/2 inch, then 2.5, and then 4.5. Okay. Then you're going to need to cut an opening. So you need to get yourself a cutting mat and a blade. Or if you think you can do it with scissors, you can just do it with scissors. So on the back, you want to make the following measurements, okay? So I've already done mine to save time. So from each side in, you need to measure 1.5 inches and draw a line. Check and double check that it's straight. Use your grid mat as well as your rulers to get those straight marks. And what I do is I'll measure in, make a little mark, measure in, make a little mark. I'll put it on my grid there with straight lines top and bottom to make sure I get it straight, because it is quite important that these lines are straight. So 1.5 inches in from the sides, so this is the 6-inch side, okay, and then top and bottom on the 5-inch side you want to measure in from the outside in 7/8 of an inch, okay, which then creates these rectangles. So what we're cutting away is this middle section here. Alright, so I am using a blade and a metal non-slip ruler. You need to be very careful if you're using a blade, and what you need to do is cut this middle section out. Okay. Okay, and that creates a little window. Alright, so then what you want to do is the centre ones fold in like so, and these fold in like so. Okay. Don't worry if it's not 100% perfect. Alright. What you want to do at this point, just to make sure that it's, you know, that you don't need to redo it before you glue it in, is get your small card and make sure that it fits in that gap that you've created with a small gap either side. Okay, as long as you've got that, you're fine. Alright, so then what you want to do is you need to undo those folds, and you're going to get your smaller card piece and you're going to face it down with the fold facing upwards, okay, and then press it down flat. Then with this section, with the folds there where you've done your drawing on the back, lay that on top. Okay, now what you want to do is, and what I do is I use my grid mat here, and you've got your score lines top and bottom here, they need to line up with the score line on the small card. Okay, and then the rest of it you just need to judge by eye that you've got even spaces top and bottom. So just take a moment, if you're not confident, get it in place and then just add a little bit of washi tape. Alright, so then what you need are 2 little strips. Now they don't have to be massive. I'm just going to use some scrap card here and I'm just going to cut it in half. Hold on a minute, let me get a long piece of scissors. Alright, so there's no exact measurement for this, but I'm going to show you the process. Okay, you're going to need 1 for each side, so let me do another. Alright, so what you want to do here needs to go, okay, it needs to go up against the score line here for stability, and then it needs to attach onto here. Okay, so just measure your strip. Okay, guess how much you'll need. About that much. Alright, there's no precise measurement for that. It just needs to attach these two pieces together. Okay, and then I'll just do the other side. Let me just... If I show you it the complete manual way without all fiddly measurements, then you'll figure out how to do it to suit yourself. I just think it's a better way of showing card making because it gives you more analytical skills kind of thing. Then just fold it in half, okay, just as a guide. All right, just as a guide. You're not going to see any of these pieces, so don't worry if it looks a little bit tad bit ugly. So what you want to do first of all is, this is where you could do with glue. Okay, so glue one side of these little strips that you've made and attach it to just the one with the hole. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to centralise it. So I'll do mine by eye, but you could measure it and make a mark at about 3 inches because this is 6 inches long. Make a mark at about 3 inches just to give yourself a visual guideline of where to put it so that you know that they're centralised, so it's not all over the place. Okay, then just stick that strip there. Okay, fold it over. Okay, and the same at the other side. So centralise it over your mark, press it down and just give it a bit of a fold. Like I say, there's no exact measurement there. Just do it by eye, just use your scraps. So you've got 2 little flaps here. Give that a minute to dry, and then what you want to do is re-centralise it. Okay, and you want to add some glue on the back sides of these little strips. Okay, centralise that again. Centralise, get your score marks, top and bottom and middle there lined up, and then you know it's fairly straight. Okay, and then attach those strips to there. And whilst that's drying, I'm going to fold these 1/2 inch flaps back. Okay, glue on the back. And I'm going to attach this bit to my card base. Again, you're just lining up these score marks. As long as the score marks are all lined up, you'll be fine because everything's the same size in length. So you're just looking to line up those score marks, top and bottom. Okay, if those are lined up, you're fine, you're golden. Okay, and so that score line should match up with the card base underneath. The bottom one should, and then they should all line up with this little 4-inch card here. Okay, so at this point you can just fold the whole thing over, give it a press to adhere that glue, and at this point you can see if it's protruding at the bottom a bit, you need to just move it up and do this before your glue dries. Close it again. No, it's not protruding now. Okay, it's perfect. Alright, so then open it, pop the top and bottom to fascia. Okay, mine's not dry. Come on, dry. Okay, and then give it a press. Okay, and that's how you get your mechanism, like so. Alright, mine's just not perfectly dry, so just be careful and wait for yours to dry. So it should all, if you unfolded it, it should all just fold flat nicely that way, and it should fold flat nicely that way. If it's not folding flat, whichever way you do it, you've got it too tight. Okay, so it should just fold flat that way and fold flat that way. That way you know you've got it all perfect. Right, so I'm going to leave that to dry. We'll get on with the front panel. So what you want to do here, first of all, is do your paper layering. I'm not going to layer the rest of the card. And the reason that I maybe sound a little bit long-winded is because I want to not just wham bam show you. I like to explain all the ins and outs of it, so that if you go wrong, you'll know where you've gone wrong and you'll know how to rectify it. So this has just been measured ever so slightly smaller. So this is 5 7/8 by 5 7/8 because we've got a 6 by 6 card. Layer that on. Now ideally you want everything dry before you continue. Okay, I don't have time for that. So now what you want to do is add on your foam tape. Okay, you can add it on with just a small gap. You don't want foam tape that's any wider than preferably 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Now when you're adding it, this is going to give you the lip to put your shakers in. So these foam strips need to join up neatly in the corners. So if you've got small shakers or you're using glitter, you don't want it falling out. You don't want it slipping out of the card. So join them up nicely. Okay. And ideally you're following the line of the paper rather than the edge of the card. This is a beautiful card. If you try it and just have the patience to watch the video all the way through, you will have taught yourself a lovely card. Okay. And then another one. That's probably a little bit far up, that one. You don't want it protruding over the edges of your card. So you don't want to be able to see it. Okay. I mean shut. But you want to make sure that the box is closed and sealed so that nothing can shake out. You don't want your shakies shaking all over the place. Yeah. You definitely don't want that foam tape protruding. You don't want that. Okay. Wait for your paper layer to dry. I can't emphasise it enough to be patient when you're card making and wait for things to dry. I'm not got time for that on the video, so mine won't turn out perfect. Okay, there we go. Then you put your shakies in. So I've just got these. I get them from the range. They're like £1 or something, which is £1 if you're not from England. That means £1. So some of these little tiny ones, they're actually for resin. It says the resin decorations, and I put a variety of colours in so that they pop and look pretty. Or obviously you can use good old sequins. Okay, you want quite a few, but you don't want too many. You want to still be able to see your lovely paper that you've used. And this paper is just one from my stash. It's old, I don't even know what it's called, if I'm honest. Okay, so then you want to cut a piece of acetate. So your acetate measures 5 7/8 by 5 7/8, and it's just going to layer just on there, like so, to seal that window shut. Okay, now you're going to need to use quite skinny tape. It doesn't want to be any more than 1/4 of an inch. Otherwise, once you put your layering piece on, you'll see the tape protruding, and you don't want that. So no wider than 1/4 of an inch tape, please, on this. Okay, now one tip that you can do, I'm not going to do because it takes longer, is you can get something like your dust buddy or whatever you use, anti-static, and just wipe the inside part of your acetate. That will stop your shaker elements sticking to the acetate. Okay, I'm not going to do it because it can be a messy job, but if you've got that, it's something worth doing. And if it gets too cloudy and too dusty, just gently wipe it. Alright, so now we need to remove our tape backing. So I've fast forwarded this part, but although the foam tape has its own sticker, I also add redline tape as well, just to make sure that it does stick down nicely. So it's just worth doing. It just makes sure that it's not going to come apart and your shaky bits don't come out. Just take your time and make sure you get it straight, so that it doesn't spoil your card, because once it's stuck, it's stuck. Okay, so that's your shaker attached. Like I say, I do take time over it, so I might have edited that out. So I've added tape on my acetate as well as the sticky for the foam strips, just to make sure that it's not going anywhere. Alright, so now you need to cut your window. So you need a piece of card that measures obviously 6 by 6. Okay, and you want to cut yourself a window by measuring 1/2 inch in on all 4 sides. Okay, so that's 1/2 inch. Never done 1/2 inch. Let me just check what I did. Yeah, 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Okay. Then when you've measured it on all 4 sides, just cut that section out using either your scissors or a blade. I'm going to fast. So once you've cut your window out, your window out, then you want to add some tape or glue. You can use glue at this point. If you use glue, in fact I'll use glue, shall I? I've stuck it now. I'll use glue on the rest to show you that you can use glue. Okay, so you can use tape or glue, but you want full coverage, and then this is going to layer over here. So if you use glue, so I've used tape there, if you use glue, keep it in the centre, okay, and don't go mad, because when you put glue down, I know this, obviously you know this, but once you press that down, it's going to spread even more so on the acetate, because it's nothing to absorb into. When you're sticking card to card, it absorbs, but with acetate it's not going to, it's just going to sit there until it dries. So sparing if you're using glue. Okay, so I'm just going to, that's why I've put tape on the bottom, because then that will hold it in place while the rest of it dries, but yet the glue gives me wiggle room time. So I'm going to start with the glue side, not the tape side, and I'm going to use that to line up on my card. I always line up on the sections that have not got adhesive on. Okay, line it up neatly, and then I'll attach my taped side, so that will hold that in place while that dries. Okay, and then obviously you just do your matting and your layering, but that's how you do your pop-up card. And if you want to, you can add a strip across the top like I have. This is just a 1/2 inch strip from Offcuts I just used to decorate. It's not really a central part of the card. A little sentiment, and then just really go to town with your matting and layering. I even matted down the inside there. So just measure your space, cut it 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch smaller, and mat and layer as pretty as you can. Okay, and there you go. I hope that helped. I hope it wasn't too long-winded, but I like to explain everything from the needle to the thread. That's how I do my proper teaching tutorials. So thank you so much if you've stayed to the end. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you'll give this a try. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.